right, welcome back into another episode of MnM Going Deep. It is closing out week 17. Maybe we'll touch on a little bit of week 16. We didn't do a week 16 episode. Christmas was a mother in itself. Cole, how you doing? How was your holidays?
It was fun. I did Nashville for the first time. Lost my voice. Football, college football playoff has kind of been ass all across the board, except for the game yesterday, Arizona State and Texas. But how was yours?
It was solid. A lot of family time, a lot of parties that we had to go to, a lot of people to see. It just doesn't feel like there's enough time.
Yeah,
Um,
faux
but
show.
But yeah, just can't get it all done. We'll hop right into the games. Like I said, opening the episode, didn't have a week 16 episode. Christmas, just the way it fell, made it tough for us to record. So we're hopping right into week 17 and closing out week 17, first down, first game on deck. I've got Oh yeah, the Christmas Day games. Chiefs Steelers. Chiefs smack the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Chiefs secure the 1 seed in the AFC, and the Steelers 3 game skid here.
Four
Looking like
games, kid.
no, no. Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs are their 3 losses in a row.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Potential for 4 with the Bengals.
this is how I saw the division, though. I mean, I always thought, I know you and a lot of other people were bullish on the Steelers as like a top team in Super Bowl. Not a favorite necessarily, but one of the contenders. I don't see the Steelers as anything on offense. I think they're the same old Steelers. I think
Yeah.
they're bland, they're boring, and this is really who they are. And I've always thought the Ravens are just. I know they had defensive issues earlier in the season, but their offense is explosive, and offense is what wins championships. In this day and age. So
True.
that was a reminiscent game of now the Chiefs starting to look like they're very fucking good,
Yep.
and they're turning the page. So
Yeah, since that Bills loss, the Chiefs have been able to, steer clear of the debris on the sides of the boat, squeak out wins against the Broncos and the Chargers internal to the division. And then the last 2 weeks, they've really pasted teams. One against no, not the Browns. The Browns was 2 weeks ago where they 21-7. I forget who they played in between that.
um,
I have it right here. I'm being dumb. They played the Texans. And they beat the shit out of the Texans too. Chiefs really rounding into form, looking like a Super Bowl contender. And I do agree with you now that the Steelers' offense is what's going to hold them back. If they can't run the ball, which they've been playing this game lately of Najee not getting really that many carries, Jalen Warren getting more bulk in the backfield. Jalen Warren's looked better than Najee, but what has helped them is the tough running, wear you down of Najee Harris, which you kind of get it with Jalen Warren, but not to the effect of Najee Harris, I think. One of those things. And they just haven't been able to run the ball. Their offensive line has not run blocked very well. And Russell Wilson, everybody was touting Mike Tomlin as like coach of the year prospect when he brought in Russell Wilson to be the starter after Justin Fields had that like decent start to the season. And he made the switch even with a winning record. And now Russell Wilson has fallen off a cliff. They even had George Pickens back in this game, and it looked like just like what you said, same old Steeler offense.
yeah, and I think if you look at the AFC, you can go down the line. I think 1 through 7, there's a lot of impressive looking teams that can make things interesting. Like that we'll get to the Bengals game, the Bengals Broncos, but like, there's teams like I would take the Bengals over the Steelers. And
Probably.
we'll see that matchup, this week. But I think the Bengals are a scarier team than the Steelers.
Yeah, I would take that. I think the Bengals are also a scarier team than the Texans at this point in time. I think the Bengals are probably a scarier team than, I mean, we'll talk about the Broncos in a second. And then uh but I don't know. I think the AFC these last few weeks, it's coming down between three teams, and it's the same three teams as last year. And the Chiefs have a really easy road to the AFC Championship now. And it's just going to be who comes out of the Bills Ravens matchup unscathed and less injured, probably. But speaking of the Ravens, we'll go second Christmas Day game. This was a stinker. Ravens 31, Texans 2. CJ Stroud, sophomore slump, didn't look good. Ravens were firing on all cylinders on defense. Lamar Jackson looked good, got pulled out of the game in the third quarter, got to get a little bit of rest in. That'll bode well for him. We'll save a couple of miles on Derrick Henry's legs too, and hopefully get healthy on the wide receiver end with Rashad Bateman being a little banged up and Zay Flowers being a little banged up heading into this game.
Yeah, and I think the Ravens in that game like show exactly what they could be, and I think why they should be. There's all the MVP debate discussions too, but the ability for them to throw the ball this year too, I think is like Lamar Jackson's weapons on offense. I think are the best he's ever had,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think Zay Flowers is probably now fully in his prime and knows how to be an elite receiver. You've got guys stepping up in Aguilar and fucking
I mean,
Bateman.
Bateman's really coming to his own this year.
Yeah, and he was obviously it was the drops and then he had an injury, but yeah, I think there's a lot of you got Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, two really good tight end combo for them, and then running back. I mean Justice Hill and who's that King guy that's really fucking good, Derrick Henry. I'm kidding, but yeah,
I
they
thought I thought you were
they
I thought you were talking about Keaton Mitchell.
oh yeah, I mean that guy also really good, but I think he's like out until next year. Um, but yeah, they're a fucking special team. I think they're gonna be. This kind of sound like a broken record, but last episode I think I said I think the three teams in the AFC that can win it are the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens, and everyone else after
Yep.
that. It's
Yep.
really those three teams. So
Remember the beginning of the season when the whole talk was how much weight Lamar Jackson has lost? Do you think that's helped him become play into an MVP for 3 years in a row, maybe?
yeah, I mean,
Remember we talked, everybody was talking
yeah,
about
he lost 12 pounds. Yeah, I
that?
still remember Chris Collinsworth telling us 12 times. But I don't know. I think there's what's crazy is this year. It's I mean we got five MVP candidates basically. Like you've got Josh Allen, who I think is incredible. You've got Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow is having a career year. And then you look at like the other players that are key, like Saquon Barkley. And then, oh, let's not forget like a Jared Goff, who is balling his ass out, or
You could even throw Jamar
Baker
Chase
Mayfield.
in there.
Uh, yeah. But
J-
like,
Jamar Chase is going to have the triple crown this year.
and for sure that'll be special. He might be, what's sad is he won't even probably get Offensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be like Baker Mayfield. You can put him in there because of what he's done and like his stats this year. So there's so many candidates. Like last year, there was no candidates, and this
Nope.
year there's guaranteed like at least five that would be like a front runner in any other year. And like it's sad that I think Jackson's having his best season, and because he won last year, and I still think Josh Allen is the MVP, but I think Lamar Jackson is number two.
hmm
But
yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. We'll head into the Thursday night game, boring one stinker. Seahawks 6, Bears 3. Seahawks finish this season off on a bit of a win streak. But unfortunately, with how the games played out on Saturday, the Seahawks will not be contending for a playoff spot. The Bears obviously dropped, what, 11 games in a row now. Um, Sucks for them that they've won 4 games this year because with the way that this season has played out, 4 wins has got you at like the seventh or eighth overall draft pick right now. And they need a lot of help. And with the Bears, it really comes down to head coach. And I don't really want to get into head coach talk right now. So if you want to move on to the next game, we can.
Yeah, that game was the worst game of the year.
Yeah.
Candidate.
I went to a 6-3 game. Like I was there personally live for Seahawks Browns in 2016, I believe. It was that game was terrible. All right, next game, Saturday games. Chargers at Patriots. Chargers 40, Patriots 7. Holy moly, Chargers really throttled them, and they're kind of starting to get on that uptick, rising stock heading into the playoffs, playing well. Um, Maybe they can make some noise. I really doubt it with how good of the teams are that they're going to have to go up against. It's a feel-good story. Jim Harbaugh, first-year head coach, really turned the team around, but I just think that they are a year away from really making noise inside of the playoffs. Patriots, I think they should move on from Gerard Mayo potentially, especially if you can go get a Mike Vrabel who knows the organization's been there, done that, caught you, some Super Bowl winning 2-point conversions and touchdowns in the early 2000s. So,
Yeah, I'll just say that I don't think the Chargers. The reason I think they have a good defense, not a great defense, but a good defense, and then offensively, like it's just plain to me. I think there's a lot of. I think Palmer's, got some twitchiness, can actually get open down the field and whatnot, but beyond Josh Josh Palmer, it's like Quentin Johnston's having a little bit better of a year. Um, you really don't have offensively a team that's like going to threaten you against a good defense. So that's where I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be this year anything special.
they would have to play very sound football in order to beat a higher caliber team, and that would be no turnovers, manage the clock, um, win the time of possession battle, play the field position battle, win that. They would have to play very sound, lights out football, in my opinion, if they're going to beat a Bills or a Ravens.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
The Saturday night game, we had a fun one, or this was the afternoon game. My apologies. Broncos at Bengals. Broncos 24, Bengals 30 in overtime. Joe Burrow, how many times could he win this game for that team?
Yeah, that was I think the game of the year potentially. Like that last fourth quarter sequence was crazy. Some of the throws Bo Nix made were
Was crazy
also
too.
incredible. Yeah, so like that to Marvin Mims, that catch in 4th and 1
Dropped
with
it into a
13 seconds
bucket.
left. That was insane. That's got to be a play of the year candidate. It sucks that they didn't. I mean, not that I was rooting for the Bengals, but it sucks that they, you know, didn't. It means more if they would have won that game.
Hmm.
I'm surprised they didn't go for two at that moment. But I mean, yeah, I think that was an incredible game. And that missed field goal by Cade York, the chip shot, like that was wild.
I
It
knew he was
was
gonna
like,
miss it. I knew he was gonna miss it. I said it out loud
really?
too. We were at my aunt's house for a Christmas party, and the Bengals were going on that drive. Like Jamar Chase catches that ball and he flips the field like on the first play, and they're moving the ball well. And I said to my dad, I was like, "Do not let Cade York decide this game. Score a touchdown if you can. Like, don't play for a field goal." I know Cade York from his Cleveland Browns days. He will miss that kick. What do you know?
Yeah, and that sucks. But T. Higgins is a badass.
Yeah, and it sounds like he loves playing with Joe Burrow. Would be interested in potentially taking less money if it means he gets to play with him. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I know like several fan accounts on the internet just claiming T. Higgins is going to go to their team. One being the Chargers, I know we just talked about them, and another one being the Patriots, we just talked about them. But we'll move on, press forward. Saturday night, Cardinals 9, Rams 13. Uh, I guess a ping off Trey McBride's head away from Rams losing this one and Seahawks having a chance.
Yeah, this I cannot. I wanted the Cardinals to win just because the Rams are scary in the playoffs.
I really don't think they are that scary because the last two, since the game against the Bills where they did score an immaculate amount of points and their offense was humming, but since that game, they've really been quiet on offense and they've struggled. Defensively, they've played well, but I think that when they would go against these higher caliber teams that are going to be in the playoffs, they're going to struggle on offense. Cooper Kupp has been nowhere to be found the last three games.
Yeah, I mean, I also think Puka Nakua has cemented himself as that guy.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
a
he's the top five receiver in the league at this point. I think he's just their offense with Kyron Williams. They're scary. But I mean, again, I think the Cardinals should have won that game. I
yeah,
cannot believe they didn't score 3% on this drive.
yeah, and they finally got Trey McBride a touchdown, and it you could clearly tell that they were forcing him to bowl in order to get in the end zone. Next game, don't really have to talk about this one. Titans 13, Jaguars 20. Titans, great job. You lost, and now you have the second overall pick in the draft. Jaguars, you won, and I think you're the ninth overall pick in the draft now. That sucks. Next game, Panthers 14, Buccaneers 48. Baker Mayfield threw what, five touchdown passes in this one. Also had a blocked punt return for a touchdown. A lot of people were, you included, were taking, Panthers with the points. Um, I won't, I'm not going to say anything about like Bryce Young because he actually did play decent in this game. Things around him weren't great, but you can see the level, like the different levels in between these two teams, and it shows it on the scoreboard there.
Yeah, and on other point I'd say on this is just I'm shocked at how like I would have thought the Bucks didn't have any like I thought Mike Evans would just age, but somehow he's like better. He's at the peak of his powers right now.
Kind of
And what
reminds me
is
of
this
like
is his 10th
Alshon Jeffrey.
better, better than Alshon Jeffrey ever was.
Probably, yeah.
Um, but what is this like his 10th, 11th year now? And
I think it's nine.
no, I
No.
think he's got
No, it's yeah,
10.
it's nine. 2014 draft.
Well then that would be 10.
Yeah, it
But
is. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
regardless, they're without Chris Godwin right now. They've got Jalen McMillan, their rookie, who's playing lights out for them. Um,
Lucky Irving.
yeah, he's incredible. I mean, that guy, I think, is going to be one of the best running backs in the league for a few years because just the way he's breaking tackles every single run. But yeah, they're scary. That's a team you don't want to go play in the playoffs. So good win.
Good win for the Buccaneers. We'll head into Philly, where the Eagles took on the Cowboys and decimated them 41-7. Highlight out of this game really is just Saquon Barkley eclipsed 2,000 yards. Kenny Pickett went down with an injury, and Tanner McKee threw a touchdown pass. Tanner McKee is a Philly favorite, and to see him throw a touchdown pass was kind of insane. But Cowboys, they're going to lick their wounds, head into the offseason. It seems like they're going to move on from Mike McCarthy all of a sudden.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I saw a report earlier that if he was available, the Bears would be interested. Doesn't mean he's going to get fired, but I guess like there's just rumors now that he may be fired, let go.
Yeah. Um, I wouldn't be shocked either way. I did see. Um, no, that was the Jets report. Never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong situation. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
All right, we'll go into another game. Colts visited the Giants. Giants came out on top 45 to 33 in this one. Giants win their way from the second overall pick in the or the first overall pick in the draft to the fifth by winning one game. Um, I still think that they have a chance to get like a top three pick, depending on how these games play out this weekend. And they also can trade back up if they really want one of those, Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward. It was just funny how some people were like yelling that the Giants were pissing away their future by winning this game.
yeah. What was cool though, I will say, is, I mean, Malik Neighbors. This was like his awakening game,
The
and I'm sure he's
dog.
had this was like his game where he really, like, I think was his welcome to the NFL like debut game,
Mhm.
where just like a incredible performance that people will remember. Uh, but he was unstoppable from start to finish. Tyrone Tracy's a steal in the draft, and he's been really good for them. Uh, so I think the fact that they have dynamic offensive players now that are starting to make plays, if that can be a consistent, all of a sudden you can start looking at how can we just plug in a elite quarterback.
Yeah.
And like, Drew Lock has a couple heater games every single year,
That,
and that was his classic. Let
that
me
was
screw up the draft.
that was a classic Drew Lock. I have one of these in me. Dable's just got to figure out a way to get the guys on offense the ball, like in just good situations. They were getting it out quick, and I know I think two of Neighbors' touchdowns, or I know he only had two, but both touchdowns were like screen passes, and he just made people miss, and he went.
Yeah. The other thing, though, I'll say this: other side, just to talk quickly on it. I mean, yeah, you're
Oh, the
missing Anthony
Colts.
Richardson. Yeah, you're missing Anthony Richardson. I don't know if that's like a huge loss, to be real. I think Joe Flacco can probably run the offense at, at better in some cases. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's not the dynamic player that defenses to scheme for. But Jonathan Taylor, my point is, I still think Jonathan Taylor is like a top three running back, top five running back in the NFL. Like if I had to have a one season, one running back to build my team around, like he would be in that discussion. I think he's so fucking good,
Yeah.
and he's just been unstoppable this past like 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, he's really come on at the end of the season. He's kind of taken the throne of the tractor Cito from Derrick Henry, where he cannot be taken down. All right, we'll go to the next game. A warm one in this one. Bills 40, Jets 14. And when I say warm one, I meant the weather. It was like 62 degrees in Buffalo. Bills take care of business, which is just beat the shit out of the Jets, who are a bad football team. I don't really know what's going on with that organization, nor do I care. Bills keep rolling, solidify the second seed in the AFC. Jets, a lot to figure out, and I don't care about you.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is that I guess a report came out that Garrett Wilson's going to request a trade if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback for the Jets next year, which is just I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. But apparently that's something that came out. So
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't know how much I buy that.
Same.
Next. Next game, Raiders 25, Saints 10. Raiders did the same thing as the Giants and the Jaguars, win themselves out of a decent draft pick. I think the Raiders last 2 weeks with their two wins, that is more um that is more frustrating for Raider fans than what the Giants just did. I think that the Raiders winning those two games absolutely meaningless, and they have a ton of holes all over their roster, even though the Browns lost to them this year. But they have a ton of holes, and I, I could see them trading up in the draft to just try and get one of those guys in hopes of turning this thing around.
Yeah, agree.
Saints, Darren Rizzi was fun for 2 weeks. I think the Darren Rizzi honeymoon is over. Go find a fucking head coach. All right, on to an important game. Packers at Vikings. Vikings 27, Packers 25. Y'all started slow, man. That's what happened.
It's and that's the narrative the entire season with the Packers is we play slow and tight early against the best teams, the teams that are better than us on paper.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's frustrating because eventually you are how you play, and it's not just like, oh, well, we're gonna, we're growing. Like we're in the last week of the season now, and we don't have a. I feel like we don't have a signature win. Like there's not one signature win this season. Where like last year, I felt like we had at
That
least
that Chiefs game.
three signature wins. We had the Thanksgiving Day against the
Yeah.
Lions in Detroit, and then the Chiefs game on Sunday Night Football the next week, and then the following game was the we played on New Year's Eve for a playoff spot
The
against the Vikings in
Vikings game.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
and we so like those three were signature wins that we pulled off. This year, there's not one that you can really say like, oh, that was we skated right by the Texans on a missed field goal. We skated by a few teams, but like the Bears. But I mean, I guess our signature win would be the Seahawks in Seattle, but like that's not really that impressive anymore.
You beat
So
the Rams in LA.
with their backup quarterback though, they didn't even have Stafford.
Yeah, I forgot
Or
Stafford was
oh,
out
they
there.
I think he was out, and they had some. Yeah, I don't think
No,
Stafford played that game,
Stafford
but
Stafford Stafford played that game. 260, one touchdown, one
it,
interception.
yeah, he just had so many
Cup
players that
and
were hurt.
Nakua didn't play.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Um, but I'll just say the last thing I'll say on this was, I will say the Packers' five losses are all like I want to say we by less than like 19 points, 18 points combined. Like so we play close games. And although that wasn't I can get in the debate about if that was close or not. I still think we had a chance to win that game. And I fully expected that we would have won that game. But
20,
what I
22.
need to see from Love, 22, yeah, what I need to see from Love is the ability to actually carry the offense. I feel like we've just depended on the run this year, and we've done it so much that that's became our identity, and we don't have the same volume of pass threatening plays like we did last year, where Love was slinging it all over the field. And now I feel like there's not the confidence, the chemistry between the receivers and him. So I don't know. I'm nervous. Now we're gonna go to Eagles. It's gonna be, and unless Washington guffs it up against the Cowboys, it's gonna be the Packers going to Philly. The first, we're gonna be the 7th seed. So that's we're gonna have to if we're gonna make the Super Bowl, we're gonna have to beat Philly. We're gonna have to beat either Detroit or Minnesota, and then probably Detroit and Minnesota again. If I have to beat all three of them, and we've lost to all of them, so it's just not looking good. Jair Alexander's out for the year. That's a huge blow because all the teams in the NFC have incredible receivers, and we don't have a fucking player that can play man coverage. So yeah, I'm worried.
Yeah. after last season, tremendous upside for the Packers, and it just seems like there's like a missing link this year. And I don't mean any offense by that. It just I watch them every week because of you, buddy, and it just seems like there's just like a missing like a wheel that's just not pulling its weight or something.
Like a bit, yeah. They like the big time plays, like key stops on defense,
Yeah,
or a
a
clutch,
turnover,
a clutch throw over the middle. Like
yep.
there's just some of those things. We get penalties, and it's like Josh Jacobs' story of the first half is he gets like 90 yards the first half, and then we don't give him the ball anymore in the second half, and we just float through games. But
What was that? Why did he not like get any touches in the second half of this game?
well, we were down, so that's why this game. But typically, he has the most touches of any player in this season in the NFL in the first quarter.
Yeah,
He averages like nine touches in the first quarter. But
he's also a very dynamic pass catching running back, and he didn't get targeted once.
well, we also and I think he's also we were getting attacked by the Vikings, and a lot of that was we needed to um, provide pass protection for running backs. So he was involved a lot with that, but I'm okay with him not getting the ball too much because I don't want to wear him out. But
Yeah,
at this
I feel
point,
you.
yeah,
All right, moving on. Dolphins 20, Browns 3. Dolphins have a chance to get into the playoffs if they win this week and the Broncos lose. And I think that they are the least wanted team in the playoffs because they're not a good football team. They should have won this game by 40. They couldn't score on the Browns' backups on defense, and DTR was giving them the ball every time, every drive on the Browns side of the 50. Like that's how bad this game was. Browns, first off, I don't know who evaluates talent for the Browns, like in as a whole, but Dorian Thompson Robinson is not an NFL caliber quarterback whatsoever. Like just
yeah, that
a
was what
absolute trash.
he doesn't have a career touchdown pass. Am I right? He's 0 and 9.
I think he has
He's
one. I think he has one against the
I saw
Steelers. No, he does. He has
I
one
saw
against the Denver Broncos, Harrison Bryant.
okay. Well, that was he's got 9 interceptions. He's got like the worst
Touchdown to interception ratio.
in like NFL history.
Yeah, he
Um,
also has like one of the
I saw
worst
that
just
today.
turnovers too, like turnover ratios if you include his fumbles.
Yeah, and so I like how I think it's funny. I mean, there must be something with Jameis Winston that the team doesn't like. He's not the coach's favorite. You know, there's
He's
something I don't think
I think
maybe
that
he's doing the right way.
I think they're
Um,
blatantly trying to lose, and the best tanking quarterback of all time is Dorian Thompson Robinson.
that I mean, that could be maybe they're just trying to evaluate DTR and see if he's like worth keeping on the roster, and by
What the
giving him a
fuck's the
chance to start.
preseason for?
Oh, I agree, but at this point, you're wanting your team to lose too.
I mean like yeah, but I actually I I think we're in a different zone than the Raiders and the Giants in that regard, and that might be me just like thinking like having bias towards my team. But when I look at the rosters of those three teams, like the worst teams in the NFL, and then you can throw the Patriots and Titans in there too. I think the Browns on paper have one of the best rosters uh,
You're
comparatively to
you're
those
supposed
teams.
you're supposedly a quarterback and a offensive playmaker away. And I think you don't even necessarily need an offensive playmaker, but you should get one.
Yeah, I mean Jerry Judy's been
Like,
phenomenal for them this year. That was a great pickup. I'm still sad about the Amari Cooper trade, but I don't know. Andrew Barry's not very good at drafting wide receivers either. Like we drafted Jamari Thrash this year. I've I think I've seen him on the field 3 times.
yeah, but you guys got him in what the fourth round.
I think third again.
So, um, but I don't know. It's I would agree with you. I think the Browns could be one of those teams that win 10 games next year if things go right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of different, courses of action on the table. I wouldn't be opposed to like signing a Sam Darnold and on like a 1, 2 year deal to kind of ride out the Deshaun Watson contract or something like that. I wouldn't be opposed. I really wouldn't be opposed to a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders. Like, why the fuck not? Like, at this point, I don't really care.
Well, don't you aren't you a Miami fan? Don't you want Cam Warren?
I mean, yeah, but I also would want him to be successful.
Here's what I'll say though. I look at Cam Ward and I that bowl game thing made me lose respect for him.
Eh, not really. Didn't really do much for me. Like,
The
Malik Neighbors did the
sitting
same thing
himself
last
out.
year. Malik Neighbors literally did the same thing last year. No one's talking about that.
Did he play like one half?
He played the first quarter, got the LSU season record for receptions, and then sat himself out.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I just look at it like it's really sad when like I looked away. So I watched like I was passively watching the first half of that, because there was NFL football on,
Hmm.
and then I knew it was a good game. It was on in the bars I was at, and then I like went to eat dinner, turned away from the game until like the end of the fourth, and I come back and it's like the last game winning drive. They're down by two,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why the fuck is Cam Ward on the sidelines right now? And I
The other thing for
just
me too is like if I'm Mario Cristobal as the head coach, like he's not coming back next year. Like why? Like we just talked about evaluating talent. Why not evaluate the guy who is on your roster currently and see if he can be your quarterback next year? Because in all likelihood, he's probably not the guy. You know what I mean?
could be, yeah, I get you. But yeah, next game.
Next game was a really important one. Falcons at Commanders. A showdown between two rookie quarterbacks that could be the debatably, this could be the best rookie class for quarterbacks in a very long time. Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels. Falcons lose this one 24-30 in overtime. Michael Penix did have a drive down the field in order to tie the game up, but Jaden Daniels outshines him, throws a touchdown pass to Zach Ertz to end it, and was a great game. Falcons fall out of the playoff um, position right now with the Buccaneers winning and them losing. Like you said, the Commanders winning and the Packers losing puts them up into the sixth seed, and the Packers fall to the seventh seed. Um, so I don't know. That was a fun game, and that game determined a lot for
Was
this stuff.
that was I think Michael Penix has that it factor that he just makes big time plays in big moments, and you saw that at Washington. Um, you saw that at Indiana before he transferred to Washington. I I think he's like it's funny because everyone's like, "Oh, Jaden Daniels is insane. Holy crap! Like he's by far the best." And then you're like, "Oh, Bo Nix is insanely good." And then you're like, "Oh, wow, Drake Mays can play. Drake Mays really good." And then it's, "Oh, okay, now we've got fucking Michael Penix comes in." There's so many quarterbacks. I'm missing a guy, aren't I?
Caleb Williams,
Maybe I'm
JJ
not.
McCarthy.
Caleb, Caleb Williams, yeah, McCarthy, jury's still out. I have a feeling JJ McCarthy will thrive with Kevin O'Connell. That
Yeah,
just to me,
I think so too.
I think is going to be that's going to be a match, a perfect match. Um, but no, for real though, kind of crazy. Caleb Williams, I think, is really good. It's just he's in a shitty situation too. So yeah, I agree. Cool. Like that's a cool quarterback class.
Anything about this game?
Uh, Well, what I was saying about Penix is I remember like three drives where he had like some incredible tight window throws. One of them was a touchdown to Pitts. Um, but these aren't just like schemed open throws that are like wide open for him to hit. He's making plays out there that are what I thought were like elite level talent quarterbacks that they make. And I think he's got, as far as passing prowess, he's probably the most polished. And I think right now he's the most ready to win now. Now, Jaden Daniels, I would say he is too because he's played a full season with uh, what the fuck's their offensive coordinator?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Uh, yeah, with Kingsbury. So, I mean, I just look at that and I'm like, it's a college offense in the NFL, so he's been ready. But I think Mike Penix can be, and it's crazy to think like, wow, he is really that much better than Kirk Cousins at this point in his career.
Yeah, and the Browns are apparently linked to Kirk Cousins. Thank you for reminding me of this. I wouldn't touch Kirk Cousins with a 10-foot pole if I was the Cleveland Browns, and I think that would be a gigantic mistake if they do that. Onto
I mean,
the,
he's an older Jameis Winston
I guess, but like
at this point in his career. Kirk
I,
Cousins was really good.
I don't want to see a non-mobile quarterback behind the Browns offensive line. Like, I mean, I saw it last. I mean, since the Achilles injury, Flacco's probably got more wheels than Kirk left.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Monday Night Football. Lions didn't have to play for anything because this week's going to determine a lot for them. But they decided to play all their starters, and it was a pretty fun game. Lions 40, 49ers 34. Um, Lions did some fuck shit. It worked out. I think they're going to continue to do some fuck shit in the playoffs, and they're going to live and die by it. Could it be the reason that they lose a game in the playoffs? Potentially, like we saw that last year. 49ers, I think it's a hard reset button, man. Not like reset as in like get rid of everybody, but like take a long look at the talent that you have on that roster and really decide who you want to keep moving forward. I think the Brock Purdy question has answered itself that they're going to keep Brock and they're going to sign him long term to a contract. He's played pretty well this year without having, key pieces on this offense left and right. He's been the only solid, continuous player this year to continue to be healthy. Um, and I think that's the right decision for them. But then you got to think about loading up talent around him. Ricky Pearsall in this game had a very, like, I thought had a very good game. Had his like welcome to the NFL moment too. And I think that maybe that should be something that they do moving forward. Does that open up a window where they actually end up trading Ayuk in the offseason after they just signed him? Maybe with the emergence of Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, but the 49ers have a lot of questions they have to answer.
Yeah, no, I think that was a fun game to watch. So um,
Yep.
that was a real. I've never seen it. Niners played their asses off in that game.
Yeah, they really did. They were trying their hardest to beat the Lions, and the Lions just kept coming.
Yeah,
All right, we'll head into second down, week 18. We're not going to cover every game because honestly, most of these games do not matter at this point. One that does matter is Saturday night on January 4th. Bengals visit the Steelers. Bengals are 2-point road favorites going into Pittsburgh. Does that have to do with, Pittsburgh maybe resting some starters or pulling guys out early? Potentially. But Bengals need to win this game to have any hope to get into the playoffs. They got to win this game, and then Miami and Denver have to lose. Any thoughts?
wait, is the AFC North division already clinched by the
Yeah.
Steelers, or is it up
No, the Ravens won it.
between them and the Ravens?
Ravens won it.
Did they really?
Yeah, the Ravens will most likely win on Sunday against the Browns, and they will win the
Yeah. So that
AFC North.
okay, but if they lose and the Steelers win,
I think it's a tiebreaker, and I think that the Ravens still have the tiebreaker
it's time. Okay.
because they would both be 11 and 6. if the Steelers win and the Ravens lose. I think the Ravens have the tiebreaker.
Interesting. I thought it was the Steelers, but I'll defer. It's your division.
Well, the Ravens have strength of schedule, which is what it comes down to. Because I think if they lose, if the Ravens lose and the Steelers win, they would have identical records in the AFC North, and then it goes to strength of schedule, and the Ravens have a higher strength of schedule.
Yeah,
Anyways, Bengals Steelers.
I don't. This game to me, I still don't see. I don't see the Bengals making the playoffs. So they're fun to watch, but like, let's be real. I don't think Denver is going to lose to the KC, and
Nah.
even if they do, Miami's fucking winning.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a crap hole chance of the Bengals getting in. So I'm not really that interested in it because I don't see. Like, maybe it's good football, but I don't really. I think the NFL realizes that there's not a lot of on the line this week, so they're trying to like expound and extrapolate the meaning behind some of these games that really don't have that much.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to two other games. We're going to talk about them at the same time that mean something. Panthers at Falcons. Falcons are 8-point favorites at home. And coinciding with this is at going on at the same time as Saints at Buccaneers. Buccaneers 14-point favorites at home. Buccaneers win and they're in. Falcons win and Bucks lose. Falcons are in. Any breakdown here? I hope Michael Penix continues to show what he showed on Sunday. That like for sure.
Yeah, I think the Falcons. It sucks because the Falcons, if they would have played Penix earlier in the season, I think they're a playoff team.
Yeah, that little
And
like
now,
losing skid they went on.
yeah, it's just they their offense looks. Kyle Pitts is a lot more involved. Bijan Robinson's at his peak of his powers. Um, Drake London, Darnell Mooney. I mean, those guys are dangerous, and their defense kind of sucks, but they've got a couple playmakers.
Yeah, and Bucks playing the Saints. I do not see them losing this game. I think that Darren Rizzi will try to do some crazy shit in order to attempt to win, but with Spencer Rattler at the helm, I really don't see much help being there for the Buccaneers. I mean, the Saints.
Yeah,
All right, next two games that'll take place at 4:25. That kind of means something is the big ones, which is Chiefs at Broncos. Broncos are 10.5-point favorites at home. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Trent McDuffie not playing in this game for the Chiefs. They're resting going into the playoffs, which I think is a little crazy by the Chiefs. I would play some of these dudes for a quarter or like a half because their last game is going to be on Christmas Day. They're not going to play another game until January 30th.
no, that's not right.
Oh no, I
January
did I did
30th.
I did, I did too far. It's January 20th.
Oh yeah. Still, yeah, I agree. Chiefs know what they're doing though around this time of year though, so I defer to them.
It's true.
The I could see the Chiefs winning this game. I'm
I
not
could
gonna lie.
too with Carson
I
Wentz.
could I I could see the Chiefs. I just see it right now. I see Travis Kelce and Mahomes having a good giggly time on the sidelines, watching Carson Wentz have his career game, and the Broncos do everything they can to try to win and struggle.
Yeah,
So I that nine and you said it's 9.5.
10.5.
Oh, okay, that's crazy.
Chris Jones even didn't play in the Steelers game, so he's going to have a month of rest. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wentz and Andy Reid win this game. I know other people will probably be shocked. I wouldn't be. The other important one is Dolphins at Jets. Somehow the Dolphins are only 1-point favorites. Don't know how, and I really don't want them to win this game because if there's any potential that the Broncos lose, I don't want to see the Dolphins in the playoffs whatsoever. Like we've done this before.
Yeah,
where like they get in and then they just get walloped by somebody and they're gonna get walloped again. They're not a good football team. I don't care what you tell me right now. Maybe in 2 weeks, if they end up in the playoffs, we'll revisit that. But all right, the last game that means something on in this Week 18 slate is Vikings at Lions on Sunday Night Football. Lions are 2.5 point favorites at home. This is for the NFC North, the number one seed in the NFC. A lot of marbles are on the table. Crazy that whoever loses this game is going to be 14-3 and be a 5 seed in the playoffs. Like people, that's how divisions work. That is why divisions exist in the NFL for like this, almost this exact reason, so that there is something to play for. And that is a huge factor in the playoffs if one has home field advantage and the other doesn't, especially if they end up playing again.
Yeah. Um, I will say that this you hit on it. I just can't imagine being the team that loses and then you're going basically you think about how many teams are like going to rest their players, rest their starters because there's like nothing to play for. Like
Mm.
every playoff spot's pretty much like played in. So everyone's resting their starters essentially, getting like they're kind of like a bye week, not a bye week, but you know what I mean. Like they're preparing.
Yeah.
Minus the team that loses this game that has to go on the road. You know, it's the late game too. It's a Sunday night game, so they're gonna come in. You know, they're getting like basically a half a day late start, and then they're fucking also having to play their starters, so they're gonna be beat up. To me, I look at that and I'm like, that's such a pivotal game. Like whoever loses that has to go on the road and think about the Lions and the Vikings. Those two teams are the most dependent on home. Like they need to play at home. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like the Vikings with Sam Darnold and offense are so much better at home than they are on the road. Same with the Lions. Jared Goff and that offense and that team are they're like they're home team merchants. They need that dome atmosphere to thrive. Not, they don't need it, but it's just going to be a lot harder for them. So yeah, I'm stoked for that one.
Yeah, great game. Um, yeah, that's our week
What's the line
two,
on that?
2.5 Lions. That's our week
And that's
18.
it's in Detroit.
Yeah, it's in Detroit. Week 18 preview. That's second down. Third down, we'll do. Just give me an anytime touchdown score. Give me an anytime touchdown score for third down. I don't care about best sneakiest matchups because all these matchups kind of suck because some like key players are like I doubt like Kyler Murray will play the whole game in the Cardinals 49ers game. So you could get
Best
some pretty crazy like ATTDs this week.
Mike Mike Evans.
Mike Evans,
Good touchdown.
automatic.
Yep,
Uh, Give me Demarcus Robinson from the Rams. Um,
I like that.
yeah, it's a good one, right? Lock and upset. We didn't do locks and upsets last week on the season. Cole and I did still do our picks. Just texted them to each other. Lock and upset from 2 weeks ago. We had we were you were 9-6. You had the Lions. And then, okay, I'm gonna have to flip back and forth with this. This is a great podcast. Um, you had the Lions against the Bears. Lions won, so you're now 10-6. Give me your lock.
Lock is um.
This is a
give
tough one.
me. Yeah, I'm trying to think of just what I would give me. Who do the Ravens play Saturday?
Thanks. They play the Browns.
They play the Browns.
Yeah.
Um,
Bailey
Shit.
Zappi.
Give me the fuck. I don't even care. Uh,
Say a team.
give me the fucking Lions over the Vikings.
Lions. I'll take the Buccaneers over the Saints. Both of us have been terrible at upsets this year. Going back 2 weeks ago, we both picked the 49ers over the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins won that game. We are both 3-13 on the year. Oh, I'm 12-4 on locks. We are both 3-13 on upsets this year. Upset of the week, I'm gonna take the Jaguars to beat the Colts. It's just the first one I saw.
Okay. I'll go Bears to beat the Packers.
Bears to beat the Packers. Wild. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna change mine. Give me the Patriots against the Bills.
Okay.
Going Patriots Bills. All right, pick six. Cole was 53, 46, and 3 on the year after going 3-3 last week. That we texted for. I am 61, 40, and 1 on the year after going 42, 4 and 2 last week. And pick six. This week is brought to you by Santa Claus. Everybody have a great Christmas, or hope you had a great Christmas. All right, give me some of your picks, or one pick.
You pick your first one, and then I'll go.
I'm gonna go Browns plus 20.
Browns plus 20.
They're minus
Um,
20 in this game.
fuck me. I'm trying to find the fucking games on my ESPN right now.
I
I'm
have it up.
driving, but
If you
hold
just
on.
say
Here we go. I got it. I got. Give me the Browns plus 20 and a half. Holy shit.
it's 20 and a half on there now. Browns plus 20 and a half.
Yeah.
Browns plus 20 and a half. Okay, my next one.
Jeez. I've never even seen a spread go to 20.
In the Browns 0-16 year, their highest point differential for spread was 13 and a half. Um,
That's crazy.
give me give me the I paused when I was saying it, but fuck it. Cowboys plus 3. I think that's actually yeah, it's plus 6.
Uh Bears plus 10.
Bears plus 10. All right. Give me Jaguars plus 5.
Give me let's go Buccaneers minus 13 and a half.
Bucks minus 13 and a half. All right, give me the fuck it. Give me the Titans have not covered a spread all year. Give me the Titans to cover that 1.5 against the Texans backups.
Okay. Give me the Colts minus 5.
Colts minus 5. And then give me
That's actually
the
a terrible pick. I take that back.
you don't,
Um,
you don't want that one.
sorry. No, that's a bad one. Let me go Commanders minus 6.
Commanders minus 6. Uh give me the Raiders plus 4.5. Because for some reason they're trying so hard at the end of the year.
Give me uh let's go Giants plus 3.
Giants plus 3.
Yeah.
Give me the Chiefs plus 10.5.
Be the Chargers -4.
Alrighty. That is pick six. Everybody have a great week. Have a great start to your new year. Hopefully, if your team's in the playoffs, they play well this week, or if they're resting starters, none of them get hurt while jumping on a trampoline. We'll catch you guys next week for
Amen.
our wild card preview.